What's up guys, and welcome back to Rising Thrills. In this video, we have a lot of things to unveil, so let's get right into it. Welcome back to Rising News, and in this video we'll be talking about a lot of different rides that were recently announced in the amusement industry, so let's get right into it. The first attraction that I will be talking about in this video is Siren's Curse, which is Ceder Point's new for 2025 Vekoma Tilt Coaster. And just the fact that they're getting a coaster in 2025 is insane. So this is a Vekoma Tilt Coaster, which, you know, it's kind of weird that they're getting a Vekoma Tilt Coaster considering they do have a B&M dive coaster. So those are coasters that are kind of similar. I mean, I have a hope that this will be different enough that, you know, it'll still be a good ride because it's different than Val Raven, which is their B&M dive coaster, which these two coasters are basically doing the same thing. They're focusing on the same type of element where, you know, you have a drop, that's the main focus of the ride, but still they're doing stuff different, and hopefully this ride will focus more on the inversions as well as that tilt. And this ride will have Vekoma vest restraints, which I don't mind them. I know a lot of people don't like vest restraints, but of course, I've only experienced them once, which is Jolly Rancher Remix, which was formerly Sidewinder at Hersheypark, but I'm completely fine with them adding Vekoma vest restraints. I think they're a fine type of restraint. But yeah, this is just, it's insane the fact that they're getting a Vekoma Tilt Coaster, and really a fact that they're getting a coaster at all. Because in 2023, they opened Wild Mouse, and then in 2024 they were supposed to open Top Thrill 2, which was a reimagining of Top Thrill Dragster, which opened in the early 2000s, and then in 2021 there was an accident with the ride where a flag plate fell off of the ride's train and hit somebody, so they had to close down the ride, and, you know, they revamped it. So, you know, it was supposed to open in 2024, but this ride was having problems, so now they're pushing it till 2025. So I personally thought if they were going to be opening a ride in 2025, they were going to push it on, you know, into a later year, open Top Thrill 2 in 2025, and then the coaster that was planned for 2025, maybe wait till at least 2026 to open it. But they didn't do that. They decided to open it in 2025, which is really weird. But overall, it looks like a good coaster. One thing to mention is Siren's Curse will be a record-breaking tilt coaster, so the world's tallest tilt coaster. I'm not sure if it's going to be the world's longest tilt coaster, and probably it'll be the world's fastest tilt coaster. So that's going to be good. You know, just bigger the better. You know, when it comes to Ceder Point, they want to build the biggest coasters, like with Millennium Forceless, Top Thrill Dragster, which was the first Strata coaster. But yeah, you know, they love to do their records, so this will be the world's largest Vekoma Tilt Coaster. So now I'll be moving on to some other of the rides that have been recently announced. The first one is Busch Gardens' new for 2025 coaster, which will be a B&M family inverted coaster. They haven't put out a name for this ride yet. They're going to leave it up to a poll, which is good, you know, especially the patrons of the park that have been going there for a while. It's a good thing to do, so, you know, they could be involved in some of the additions coming to the park. So this will be a B&M family inverted coaster, and this will basically be the predecessor to Big Bad Wolf, which was their Vekoma suspended coaster, which it had a lot of problems, so they had to, they scrapped the ride for various different reasons, not just because it had a lot of problems. It was also getting old, and yeah, it had a lot of problems. Yeah, this will be a great ride, and it's interesting to see that they're opening this ride in 2025, because the same model of this ride down at Busch Gardens Tampa, you know, that opened in 2024, the leaks for this ride at Busch Gardens Williamsburg were out before any leaks for Phoenix Rising at Busch Gardens Tampa. So it's definitely interesting to see, you know, they've waited a little longer than Busch Gardens Tampa to open this ride, you know, in terms of when they started planning the ride, but that's not bad necessarily. And this plot of land that this ride is going on has a lot of history. It was originally, and this plot of land was originally for Dragonfire. That was the ride that was on this plot of land for a few years, like 10 to 20 years, and then the ride closed down. And back in like 2020, 2019, before Pantheon opened, they actually planned a coaster that would be on Pantheon's land, and it would go over on the old Dragonfire plot of land. But then they opened Pantheon, and then it was rumored that they were going to get a huge spire with a spike in the plot, basically like Pantheon, but instead of just having a vertical spike, it would be like a spire. It would spin as you go up. And then that ride was canceled. You know, they decided not to go with that. And then it was rumored that this plot of land would be home to an RMC hybrid coaster like Iron Gwazi, but instead of converting an old coaster like they did with Iron Gwazi, converting Gwazi into Iron Gwazi, it would just be a ground-up RMC hybrid coaster. But then that was scrapped, and then we got the rumors for this coaster, which we don't know the name with. We don't know the name of, rather. So it'll be up to a polling system from what I see. So yeah, that's a good thing, you know, like I said earlier, for patrons of the park to get a little say in what the ride is called. And, you know, it looks like a good addition for this park. Yeah, they could use a major coaster, especially since King's Dominion, which is like less than an hour away, is opening a major coaster this year. But hopefully the next coaster they open at Busch Gardens Williamsburg will be a major coaster. And overall, it looks like a good ride. Yeah, B&M has really, you know, the coasters they have been making have definitely changed, you know, from more thrilling coasters to now being, you know, more family coasters and more launched coasters, which, I mean, they're still thrilling coasters, but, you know, they didn't used to do launch coasters. Basically, they didn't do any. The only one was like Incredible Hulk, which was a tire-driven launch. But, you know, it's good to see that they're opening a coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Yeah, it's another family coaster, but I mean, hopefully the next coaster they open will be a major coaster. But yeah, it looks like a good ride. That's all I have to say about the new replacement for Dragonfire at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. The next addition that I'm going to be talking about is hersheypark's new for 2025 flat ride. Yeah, it's not a coaster, but I still thought I would talk about it since I was talking about two other coasters in the same video. But yeah, this will be an S&S Scream and Swing, which is basically a giant swing ride that goes beyond 45 degrees from the tower. I believe this will be the largest Scream and Swing ever, but, you know, of course, every ride, the park is going to want to, you know, have the record, but, you know, just something to mention. And it's definitely good to see that Hersheypark is getting another flat ride, especially one that's more thrilling compared to, you know, the other flat rides that they have that are less thrilling. You know, this will probably be the best flat ride in the park, other than, you know, the classic rides like the carousel and the train. This will be one of the best flat rides in the park. But one thing that isn't good is I was hoping that they would, you know, take one of the old flat rides like the Flying Falcon and put it in the plot of land that this Scream and Swing is going in, and, you know, put it beside it, because I'm pretty sure there would be enough room to put the Scream and Swing and an old flat ride like the Flying Falcon. Who knows, maybe they even could bring back like the Giant Wheel, but it's still good to see that they're adding a flat ride, and it looks like a good ride, especially since it's themed to Twizzlers, probably the best non-chocolate candy, so it makes it even better considering it's themed to Twizzlers. But it overall looks like a good ride, and hopefully it'll be as good as it looks. It definitely does look good, and, you know, they have that kiddie swing ride just on the other side of the creek from this Scream and Swing, so it'll kind of be like the big swing ride and then the tiny swing ride, so you can work your way up to the big swing. But overall, this looks like a good ride, and it's definitely cool to see how they're putting it on the side of the hill there, using the terrain to the advantage. But overall, it looks like a good ride, and I'm pretty excited to get on it, which is, I forgot to say the name, it is Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, which is Hersheypark's new for 2025 S&S Scream and Swing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next news.